19 News Now here with Jeff Slauson here with 19 News Now. I'm going to be bringing you live to a press conference being held for the Ohio State Highway Patrol. Now, the release that we got for this said that it was going to be a celebration for the 90th anniversary of the Ohio State Highway Patrol and Ohio Investigative Unit. Now, yesterday, very clearly, we know of the deadly bus crash that took place in Licking County, so there's a chance they potentially address that during it. But I want to let you know that at least the press release had said there was a 90th anniversary celebration scheduled for this. I would be surprised if they didn't at least address in some way what happened yesterday due to the involvement of the state, due to the involvement of State Highway Patrol. But I guess we will see. So I'll bring you live right now to this press conference.
I would like to take a moment to introduce the patrol's senior staff. The Superintendent of the Ohio State Highway Patrol, Colonel Charles A. Jones. Lieutenant Colonel Josh Swindell, Assistant Superintendent. Major Chad Neal, Office of Criminal Investigations. Major John Altman, Office of Planning, Research, and Development. Major Mike Kemmer, Office of Training, Recruitment, and Diversity. Major Ann Ralston, Office of Personnel. And Major Matt Tim, Office of Finance and Logistics. On behalf of the Ohio State Highway Patrol, I would also like to thank Governor Mike DeWine for joining us today for our birthday celebration. And at this time, I'd like to recognize a few additional people in the audience. Our Public Safety Director, Andy Wilson. Public Safety Assistant Director, Karen Huey. Public Safety Chief of Staff, Ben Suver. Then also with us today are retired Major Bob Booker, President of the Retirees Association. Danielle Chatfield Barris, State Patrol Federal Credit Union. Ms. Carrie Root, President of the Ohio State Troopers Association. Sergeant David Richendaler, Vice President of the Ohio State Troopers Association. The patrol's rich and proud history of service with a purpose would not be possible without the foundation laid by our retirees. I believe we have a few of them with us today, including Colonel Thomas Rice and Colonel Paul Pride. I'd also like to recognize if there are other retirees, would you please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? Thank you all for coming today. I would also like to ask any current or former military service personnel to stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service. And now, please help me welcome the Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Andy Wilson.
Well, happy birthday, Patrol. As I stand before you on your 90th birthday, I can honestly, with all of my heart, tell you that my experience over the last 10 and a half months in serving as your Director of Public Safety has been the highlight of my professional career. And on your 90th birthday, I would like just to take a second to tell you some of the things I love about this opportunity and about this experience. First of all, I love serving with this organization. Your history, your tradition, your standards, your discipline, your DNA is everywhere I look, and it's carried out so proudly through the rich history of everybody who has served all the way to that class that I just walked past, 172, was practicing for their graduation. It is in your DNA, and we are so proud of who you are and what you represent. I also love, most of all probably, the people. I've had the opportunity over the last 10.5 months to get some time out in the trenches with your folks. And whether it's changing a tire in the middle of the night on a rainy night on I-75, or sitting outside a liquor establishment in the worst neighborhood in Cleveland waiting for somebody with a gun to come out. I've been incredibly impressed at every moment by the professionalism, by the energy, by the passion of the people who make up this organization. I will never be able to thank you enough for taking me in as one of yours and making me part of this family, because that's what you are. The citizens of the state of Ohio are in good hands. I've seen firsthand how dedicated each and every one of you is to protecting us. And finally, another thing I love about this job is the opportunity to serve Governor Mike DeWine. Governor DeWine started his career as a prosecutor in Greene County. As you know, a lot of times, man, that first job, that first professional job you have leaves an imprint in your heart that you carry with you throughout the rest of your life. And I've seen it in the governor. I've heard it in the things that he says. In this position, public safety, I get these amazing moments from time to time when I get to travel with the governor, and I absolutely love these moments. After we go out and we do an event or he speaks, a lot of times as we travel back, it's a little more relaxed, and I get to hear stories, and I get to hear the governor talk about his passion for public safety, his passion for protecting the community, and it goes all the way back again to that first job where, again, that seed was planted for his love of taking care of those around him and serving in the public and really fighting crime and keeping people safe. In those conversations that I've had with him, I get to hear firsthand how much he respects you, how much he cares about you, and how much he appreciates what you do every day to protect our families, our friends, and our neighborhoods. I can say without a doubt that Governor Mike DeWine is the most public safety-minded governor who's ever served in the state of Ohio. He loves you, he's passionate about your mission, and it's my incredible honor to introduce him to say a few words for you today.
Well, Director, thank you very, very much. We are blessed to have the director in this position, former Clark County prosecuting attorney, someone who has great passion. There's no substitute for passion. Please join me in a moment of silence and a silent prayer for the Tusky Valley schools, students, parents, teachers, administrators, family members, and really for the whole community of the Tusky Valley schools. This is a tight-knit community. I'm sure there's no one in that community that is not feeling this pain. So if you'd have a moment of silence and in your own way, a silent prayer. Thank you. The public sees the patrol out on the road. They see them, you all doing your job. But few really have the opportunity to study the patrol, to see you all up close. exactly 50 years ago. As the director indicated, I came out of law school and started as an assistant county prosecuting attorney in Greene County. My first job was night court, where I was prosecuting cases on behalf of the Highway Patrol, DUI cases. Place where I learned a piece of information that I don't think I ever would have known, that absolutely everyone charged with DUI had 2 beers. It was never 3, never 4, never even 1. It was every single time it was 2. But that was a great experience, and it was the first time I had the opportunity to work directly with the patrol and see what the men and women of the Highway Patrol do. That was focused primarily then, of course, at the Xenia Post. Later on, as state senator, the patrol helped me write the DUI bill. Later on, of course, served as lieutenant governor, and my job in the Voinovich administration was to work directly with the patrol and six other agencies, all having to do with law enforcement. And then, of course, as attorney general, and now as governor. I've had the opportunity to see what you all do. I've always been proud of the Highway Patrol, going back 50 years, but never more so than yesterday, as I watched the men and women of the Highway Patrol work. And I saw them upholding their now 90-year legacy, bringing order out of chaos, helping their fellow Ohioans on what undoubtedly was the worst day for those fellow Ohioans in their life. Whether at the scene or at the school or the reunification center with the trauma counselors, or helping the school staff to manage the unbelievably complicated logistics of this, of notifying families. During all of that, the patrol was what you would expect. Professional, compassionate experts in dealing with this type of tragic situation. They did yesterday, and they continue to do, and do every day, an amazing job of holding the honor and the tradition of this great organization. 90 years ago today, 90 years ago, the first 60 patrolmen were sworn in after 6 weeks of training at Camp Perry, close to Lake Erie. Leading up that day, Lynn Black, the patrol's first superintendent, put out a statement to the newspapers saying, and I quote in part, "The heavy volume of travel over the highways makes necessary some sort of legal agency to act in a regulatory capacity." And he promised that the new troopers would be, and I quote again, "familiar with duties and regulations, dignified in conduct, neat in appearance, attentive in manner, and by all means courteous in approach." From that first class to the 172nd one that will graduate on Friday, the patrol has lived up to Colonel Black's promise, and they have far exceeded it. You all should be very, very proud. Through the years, the patrol has met many challenges, many that I've had the opportunity to see up close, including a prison riot, civil disturbances, homeland security threats, and a pandemic. 2 weeks ago, an Ohio historical marker was placed at Camp Perry at the exact location where those first 60 patrolmen graduated 90 years ago today. A team from the Ohio State Highway Patrol and the Ohio National Guard used photos, GPS mapping technology, and existing structures to pinpoint the exact location where the graduation of that first class took place in order to place that marker. I encourage everyone to go see it, and I'm looking forward to that. And next month, the Ohio Investigative Unit will also hit its 90-year mark. That unit has come a long way since the repeal of Prohibition in 1933. First known as the Ohio Liquor Control Board, its sole purpose was to regulate the manufacture, the sale, and the distribution of alcoholic beverages. As time has gone by, many name changes have occurred, but the Ohio Investigative Unit has continued to evolve into an agency that handles so many things, not only alcohol-related crimes, but also crimes related to illegal firearms, drugs, gambling, tobacco, violent crimes, human trafficking, and on and on. To members of the Ohio Highway Patrol and to members of the OIU, as your governor, I'm so very, very proud of all of you. You do work that others cannot do. You do work that others will not do. And the work you do matters so very, very much to every citizen of Ohio. So happy birthday. Looking forward to being back here for the 100th. Now let me invite Colonel Jones, Director Wilson up to receive a proclamation for the 90th birthday of the Ohio State Highway Patrol. And I also would ask Senior Enforcement Commander Eric Lockhart to join us. We have a proclamation to present celebrating the Ohio Investigative Unit's 90th birthday. Make sure I get the right one.
I would now ask that Senior Enforcement Eric Lockhart come forward for some remarks.
Good afternoon. First off, I'd like to thank Governor DeWine for his recognition and kind words. That means the world to our organization. And I think I speak for every member of the Ohio Investigative Unit over the last 90 years when I say we don't do this job for the recognition, but instead for the betterment of the great state of Ohio and the safety of our citizens. As the governor pointed out, this agency was created in 1933 to fill an important need after Prohibition ended, to establish rules and regulations for the legal manufacture, sale, and distribution of alcoholic beverages. Over time, OIU has taken on more duties. Not only do our agents take care of alcohol control law and SNAP fraud, but we also work to reduce violent crime occurring in and around liquor-permitted establishments and remove illegal firearms from the streets to keep locations, employees, and patrons safe. In 2023, our agents have recovered 271 firearms while conducting their duties that are now unable to be used to harm others, or commit crimes. What our agents do on a daily basis is dangerous, and there's no greater example of that than Agent James Burns, badge number 64, who is OIU's only agent to ever die in the line of duty. Agent Burns was shot and killed while attempting to arrest a suspect during an investigation in Xenia on November 7th, 1964. He made the ultimate sacrifice in an effort to uphold Ohio's laws and keep our state safe. Agent Burns is one of the many who have helped move Ohio investigative unit forward over the last 90 years. We would not be where we are today without our history, and we will certainly never forget his or his family's sacrifice. As proud as I am to look back on the accomplishments OIU's made in its first 90 years, I'm even more proud to think of where it will be in another 90. Thank you to all who have made an impact on this agency and to all who will do so in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. It is now my pleasure to introduce the 20th Superintendent of the Ohio State Highway Patrol, Colonel Charles A. Jones.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, a sincere thank you to everyone here today. It's truly a great day, and I couldn't think of anybody else that I'd like to spend this afternoon with. Thank you, Governor DeWine and Director Wilson and the DPS leadership team for your steadfast support of the Ohio State Highway Patrol. There is no way that the patrol and OIU could do what we do without your support, and we really appreciate it. You know, I'm very thankful for the Highway Patrol and OIU personnel, both sworn and professional staff, that go out and take care of the hard and dangerous work every day. There's no way that the Highway Patrol or OIU would be able to exist without the great people that did the job before many of us and that currently do the job. It's always the people that take care of the business of the organization. 90 years of distinguished service by OSP and the Ohio Investigative Unit to the citizens of the great state of Ohio is both honorable and commendable. So on behalf of the Highway Patrol, specifically the senior staff, a sincere thank you to all of our sworn Highway Patrol and Ohio Investigative Unit staff, our professional staff. Thank you for what you do every day to make the state of Ohio safer. At this time, I'd like to read the birthday message that by now has probably been read across the state by our field commanders, but I'd like to share it with you now. Throughout this year, we have celebrated our history and tied our beginning to the evolution of where we are today as a division. From November 15, 1933, on the shores of Lake Erie in Ottawa County, in the snow, on motorcycles, there's a through line that starts at Camp Perry with the graduation of our first class and runs all the way through 90 years of history. And now today, 90 years after Colonel Lynn Black, our first superintendent, and those 60 patrolmen walked those grounds at Camp Perry, and where an Ohio historical marker now commemorates the Ohio State Highway Patrol's origin. Our core mission revolves around the same types of critical safety and security areas, where every day across Ohio, state troopers, Ohio Investigative Unit agents, police officers, and professional staff directly and positively impact local communities. I am very proud of our 90th anniversary year, and I hope each of you are as well. Now it's time to look forward and seize upon new opportunities, like those first 60 patrolmen who rode off on their motorcycles to outposts across Ohio 90 years ago today. we remain an organization that takes care of people. Today's special occasion to celebrate our 90th anniversary birthday provides an opportunity to reflect on 90 years of progress that has been made across many fronts and acknowledge our active and retired employees for their contributions over 9 decades of service with a purpose. We can continue to honor the same core principles of those first 60 patrolmen by carrying on the 90-year commitment to get people in need the invaluable assistance that can give them hope for a brighter future. It's my honor and privilege to be here today. God bless our fallen, God bless the families, and God bless the Ohio State Highway Patrol and the Ohio Investigative Unit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now I'd like to invite Chaplain Hunt to come forward to deliver the benediction.
Let's bow our hearts once again. Once again, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this great day. And Lord, we are reminded of those students and those families today, and our heart goes out to them. We ask for your hand to be upon them and the compassion, and may they sense the healing and help and hope in their lives today. And it saddens our heart. And so we ask for your help upon them. Thank you, Lord, for this great opportunity today. And indeed, Lord, we ask your blessing upon the Ohio State Highway Patrol in the years ahead. And we give you all the glory once again in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. On behalf of the Ohio State Highway, to commemorate our historic 90th, I encourage you to remain for fellowship and refreshments in the lobby. Thank you. Buckle up. Thanks.
So you heard a little bit there during the governor's portion of that conversation, talking about how he was asking for prayers for what happened in Licking County, but it seems that for the most part they stuck to what the press release had said, which was discussing the 90th anniversary of Ohio State Highway Patrol. All right, that is it for our digital stream here. Much more to come both on air and online. 19 News at 3 o'clock starts with 3.5 hours of nonstop news on CBS in just about 25 minutes. We'll see you there.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for channel 1035.
Today, Nationwide Children's.
It'll be on that side of the room.
What's going on?
Cameras on that
Do we
side.
ever want to get set up on this side?
Jeremy, you run down there and grab my sticks. Scott, you want me to get the sticks? So, I have a malt box. You do? Yes. I guess the best place might be over here for everybody. Yeah. We'll put the governor over on this side. Perfect. He's gonna plug in the malt box. He'll be standing over here.
He'll be standing where?
Malt box is back here. We'll do some audio tests. Hey Jim. What? Yeah. I gotta. Yeah.
And do you have audio?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Can I get another?
Yeah.
No.
1, 2, 3. Check. 1, 2.
All right, everybody, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everybody sound good through the malt? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you guys, should we move some of these chairs out of the way for you?
All right, so for those that just stayed on to our digital stream here, I'm just going to pop this off. I think
All
there's
right,
a chance
test
we're going
1,
to
2,
hear from the
3,
governor
4, 5, 6. Great.
for more questions. Unsure if it's about this or if it is about what happened in Licking County. I'll show you what we're looking at here. So let's see. We'll hang with this to see if potentially the governor speaks separately more on what happened.
I'm sorry, I'm like, wait.
No, I'm just going to put the phone down when he I would agree. So
Do you have a show for? Okay, we have a second crew, okay. Yeah.
So I got it.
We're not filming this.
Right, yeah, so I got to get that too. Yeah. And I got to go 5 and 6. So I'm like, I'll go with their cell phone, I'm going to get TSP.
All right, so for those that hung on to our digital stream here, we are just waiting to see what potentially this update is here. So everybody was in a separate hall celebrating the 90th anniversary of Ohio State Highway Patrol. Since that point, they have now walked into a separate conference room. So the governor is in attendance. I believe that there is a potential that we could be hearing from the governor and from Ohio State Highway Patrol. Potentially more on what happened in Licking County yesterday for any additional updates. So that's what we're going to stick with here. That's what we're going to be waiting for, just for any potential updates.
Wore my white balance shirt today.
It worked. I was trying to see what I used too.
Now, the governor just speaking minutes ago, asking for a moment of silence from Ohio State Highway Patrol members and those that were there in the following the crash that happened yesterday.
Governor, we're going to
Yep,
put
here's
2
the governor.
mics on,
Okay,
yeah?
great. So it does seem like this is going to be the case. So we're going to stick with this then, wait till the governor gets set, and then we'll be able to bring you the latest from the governor as he gets mic'd up here. So what we are potentially expecting to hear is an update from the investigation, but we haven't learned much over the last couple of hours here. All right, so they are just getting the governor set officially. It's been a tough day for the community here as they have
Hello, everybody.
tried to
Everybody
grieve and
okay?
learn more information. Here is the governor. We will take him live.
Okay. Happy to talk about this in a minute. I just met with Chairman Hamady of the NTSB. They came in this morning. We're very happy to have them here, and happy to talk about that. We celebrate today the 90th birthday of the Highway Patrol. I had the opportunity for the last 50 years, beginning when I was assistant county prosecutor in Greene County, to watch the Highway Patrol and actually work with them. Just absolutely great people, professionals. Never been more proud of them than I was yesterday. in the work that they were doing to reach out to victims and victims' families, to help the superintendent, to take a chaotic, horrible situation, try to bring some order to that. So we're very, very proud of what they did. This continues to be a day of mourning. Tusky School is a relatively small school, relatively small community. I'm sure there's no one in that community who has not been touched in one way or the other by this really unbelievable tragedy. The Highway Patrol is continuing their investigation. NTSB is in here. The chairman, she was very complimentary about the Highway Patrol. The first thing she said to me is how professional and how good they are. We welcome them here, NTSB. There's a lot of things to learn, and I know there'll be many, many questions in the days ahead. What I explained to her is the public is going to want to know, and policymakers will want to know all kinds of things. And one of the things has to do with the buses. As you know, we have a working group that's looking at school buses. This is not a school bus, as you also know. But I think the question of how we keep people as safe as we can in whatever bus they are riding. So this was a horrendous accident, and I'm not going to speculate about anything at this point until we get really a complete report from the Highway Patrol, so and from NTSB. So I think they have 14 people in here. So happy to answer any questions.
Governor, have you had a chance to talk to any of the victims' families?
I have not. I talked to some of the families yesterday that were not injured and that were going back home. And I think for us all to remember is that anybody who was on that bus, has been traumatized, and we have to continue to keep them in our prayers, but also do everything that we can to wrap that community, wrap our arms around that community. But we'll have the opportunity at the appropriate time to talk with the family members. I don't, as you know, rush in. I had the chance to talk to the superintendent and the former superintendent yesterday. They were amazing what they were doing and how they were carrying that out, and very difficult job. So, anybody else?
Governor, with the NTSB being here, will that delay or change anything in the Ohio State Patrol's investigation?
No.
Sometimes federal agencies move slower.
Yeah, look, we're welcome them here. Their focus is on everything, but I'm sure that they have particular expertise in the area of buses, and interstate buses, and all the things that are connected with that. So we welcome that. Chairwoman made it very clear to me, we're not going to interfere in your investigation. What I look at is two dual investigations going on at the same time, complementary one to the other. So I cannot envision a situation where them being here would delay the patrol from being able to issue a report and then stand in front of you all and answer the questions. But this is as you could see from the aerial pictures and the reports, this is a complicated scene. And, trying to, and with many different vehicles involved, the patrol, my experience as a prosecutor has been that, the patrol are really experts in crash reconstruction. They're trained to do this. They bring in the best people to do it. But it's not easy, and this will not be an easy one.
Governor, we know there's at least 3 people who are still in the hospital recovering. Are any plans that you have to go maybe visit with them, or updates on how they're doing, or maybe connecting with their families?
Yeah, again, I think these families need a little space, and we're going to give them some space. But, you know, there'll be an appropriate time where I'll have the opportunity to do that. And I think it's kind of a case by case, and we kind of talk to the school officials and other people about that. So, yeah.
Governor, are there any early signs that equipment failure was involved, or more driver error, or both?
Yeah, I don't think we can speculate on that. You know, I don't have anything on that. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't give it to you at this point, simply because the totality of the investigation. I mean, what happens here, Matt? You know, so we're gonna wait, and it's gonna be the patrol knows that everyone wants to know what happened, and they're gonna move forward.
Governor, this is sorry, 2 questions. You obviously are being briefed on this all the time. Can you share a possible timeline? Is there a rough estimate for when this investigation unfolds?
Yeah, I'll ask the patrol.
So it's going to take time. You know, I can't give you a specific timeline. The one thing that I do know is we want to make sure that we get it right, and that everything that's contained within the report is factual, and that's going to take some time. So I can't give you a specific timeline, but it's going to take time. We want to make sure that we do a very comprehensive and thorough investigation, and that's going to take some time.
And Governor, my second question, I apologize. Obviously, you want to give the community space to heal, but do you think you would want to go and visit Tusky Valley, or is that something that you're just not?
Oh no! Look, I certainly will be over there at the appropriate time. Yeah.
Why was it important for you? You seemed to be there most of the day yesterday. Why was it important for you to be there?
Well, my experience has been, frankly, going back to when I was an assistant prosecutor and then the elected county prosecutor, that there's no substitution for being there. You always pick up a piece of information or two or something. I think it's also, though, important for the governor for the state, representing everybody in the state, to express our sympathy and to be there. It gave me the opportunity. You know, I stopped by the reunification center. You know, did not go in, and I was in, but I didn't, you know, bother any families. But you know, I saw the superintendent. I saw the previous superintendent, and I just wanted to express to them and ask them to express to the community my deepest sympathy. I just think it's important for the governor to, when we have a horrible thing like this, to represent the people of the state. All the people of the state can't be there, but you know, people are reaching out and want to help and want to at least express their sympathy. I can do that on behalf of the people of the state of Ohio, and you know, it's you know, when we've had other tragedies that involve children. You know, I can tell the parents that I have, you know, been where they've been where they are now.
This stretch of highway, you know, it's gotten a lot busier over the last several years, and it's only going to continue to get busier because of all of the development. Are there, you know, safety precautions that are?
Look, this is the first thought that I had going over there. It's a very good question. You know, I went probably the same way many of you did, and saw what was on. Once you shut that highway down for 2 minutes, you know, the trucks are everywhere. I flew over the general area of central Ohio 3 months ago to look at the Intel site, to look at all the sites and all the construction and where things were going to be. And candidly, the thing that struck me, just as a person who, you know, just doesn't have any great expertise in this area, but when you look down from that helicopter, all I saw was trucks. And just massive numbers of trucks. And so this has been something that, look, I have discussed with Director Marshbanks before this tragedy. You know, what are we going to do? You know, is there any way to separate trucks? Is there any, what can we do? And the logistics of doing that are very difficult, so I don't want to throw that out as an idea that it is probably not going to happen. But as you look at the growth in Central Ohio, the question that immediately comes up is, are there enough lanes? Are we doing enough for safety? And from the moment I became governor, the first thing I told before I hired Jack Marshbanks, I said, you're going to focus on safety. And, we have set aside, as you know, significant amount of money, every budget, to work on intersections and other things that are dangerous. But yeah, the volume of traffic in Central Ohio is massive, and it's going to do nothing but grow. And we have to be able to stay in front of that. So nothing today, but very good question, and it certainly it's something that we will continue to discuss with the director and with ODOT as well as with the Highway Patrol.
When you spoke of the school bus safety working group, obviously this wasn't a school bus, but will this immediately put charter buses like this into the conversation? And does this add new urgency to kind of get that working group?
Yeah, they're meeting, Andy, they're meeting when? Tomorrow. Again. Yeah, look, I mean, as a parent or a grandparent, or I'm sure as a school superintendent, the issue always is, I've got kids going out buses, or I've got kids going out in the band, I've got kids going out in sporting events, you've got kids going out in for all kinds of events. And so the question always is that every superintendent has to decide is, what's the mode of transportation? And, it is always, I think, good for us to be able to get information out to the people who are making those decisions. And so the report that's going to come back from the Highway Patrol and NTSB will certainly be used to be able to compare safety. I mean, I said at the time when we had our, tragedy with the school bus, that school buses statistically are very safe, and they're going to be a lot safer than a 15 vehicle passenger van. They're going to be a lot safer than driving your kid to school. And so what parents have to do and what superintendents have to do is make choices. All we can do, but it's imperative that we do it, is give them the facts. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. These discussions will come together because they all have to do with how do we transport the most important thing in our lives, and that is our kids. And so all of this comes together, and we have to be able to learn from tragedies, and we have to, it brings up questions that may not have much even to do with this tragedy, but it is a comparison of this versus this versus this versus this. And there's data on it. You also get the question of, that we're looking at with school buses. How do you make them safer? So knowing all the facts of this case is important. Not to blame anybody, but rather to say, okay, let's learn. If there's something to be learned from this, let's do that. And that's why these investigations are important. And it's also why it's important that they be done right. And we're in a hurry, but let's get them right. So, anybody else? Okay? Good? Anybody?
Yeah, respectfully, Governor, on a slightly different subject.
Oh, shocking that we would have a different subject.
We're, 5.5, 6 weeks out to the end of the year, of course, a busy holiday season. What policy priorities, as you come to the end of the year, you often have, like reporting out of different task forces and so forth. What policy priorities or legislation are you hoping to see on your desk by the end of the year? What would you like to do yourself?
Well, I've stated, as you know, the last few days that we need to make sure the will of the people is followed in regard to legal marijuana in the state of Ohio. I'm not for it, but I'm governor, and that's what the people have done and decided to do. And so we respect that. But we also have to get it right. We also have to make sure that we can protect families who are walking downtown from the 5-year-old inhaling marijuana involuntarily. We have to make sure that the marijuana that is sold is free of fungicides, free of chemicals. We have to make sure that marijuana that is being sold that does not have fentanyl in it. We're going through right now, this is not so much legislation, it may be some connected with it, but we're going through a complete reexamination of how we're testing for marijuana. And we're looking at, frankly, one of the predictions that was made as we assessed this long before the vote was we're probably going to have a new lab for the Highway Patrol, or at least an expanded lab. So getting this right is important. If you look at the statistics in regard to marijuana-related driving offenses, people under the influence of marijuana, those have gone up. Even before this vote, we would expect them to go up even further at a more accelerated rate. How do we deal with that? How do we protect people on the roads? How do we test for that? So all of these are things that we are looking at. As far as my long-term agenda, we're pulling together. We're using the month of November and December candidly to examine every aspect of what we're doing. We're going to really review exactly where we are in rolling out into our schools, rolling out the science of reading. I met yesterday at the governor's residence with all the teachers of the year that have been selected all throughout the state to get their ideas about things. So we're going to focus a lot on education, as you know, barring some other lawsuit. The member, we now have direct authority over most of the department, what used to be called the Department of Education. That's a big deal. We're still in the process of rolling out our new department that's focusing on children. That is a big deal. In the long run, one of the things that's holding us back is not expanding child care or making child care available for enough people. And, we've expanded it significantly, but we know that one of the things that we must have, if people are going to live up to their full potential and if the state's going to move forward, is quality child care for people. And it has to be something they can afford. So we got plenty of issues. I'll stop because I'll just keep going. But we got plenty of things. Thanks, everybody.
All right, and that is it from the governor here. Now, toward the end of that, I think was some of the most important stuff here, but we are going to end our digital stream here. Let us take care of that over on TV as our newscast is just picking up. Again, 19 News, 3 to 6:30, 3.5 hours of nonstop news starting just now over on CBS. We'll see you over there.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for channel 1035.